I at least got to say a last goodbye.
No, this is going to be so fun. All right, so now we are joined by Lisi, who is a great fan and all that she does for our channel. Thomas, also Celtic Boar. Good to have you with us tonight. And we're live audio, but not live video yet, so people can't see you. But they can hear you, and it's going to be a fun conversation tonight. Everyone who is watching, you can join this. Let's pop that, if you can, Evelyn, one more time in the Discord. I would love to have 30, 20, 40, 60 people in the chat tonight. We're going to have a good time, and everyone's going to disagree with me, and I love it.
I keep thinking of oh man, I just forgot the cartoon. Dilbert. I kept thinking of a Dilbert cartoon where somebody had some trivial thing that was important, and they just like drew a line in the sand. I will die before I concede the point.
Exactly. Yes.
No.
Oh, you want our anti-paladin chat, huh?
All right, so here we go, and we're going to get this all live on video, and I want the chat menu transition. Click that off. Boom! Blue Box level up. We're live, and by the way, we only have 6, but we can join many more. So if you want to be on this, you can jump in the Discord, click that Zoom link, and join. We're going to talk about things we can do to make this stream better. I'll be looking for admissions. Anyone that wants to join, I will bring in here. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'll bring you in for sure. We had this great discussion today on critical hits, which is part of my discussion tonight. And I'm so honored to be joined by Tim, Evelyn, Robert, Lee, and also Thomas, Celtic Boar, who has been such a great supporter of our channel. So I'd like each of you introduce yourselves, talk about anything you have going on with your streams, and we're going to jump into the deep context tonight of all this great tech. And so let's start with you, Thomas.
Celtic Boar 13 on all platforms, mostly Instagram. I don't do a lot on Twitter. I mini paint. Right now my Instagram is not very active, but I hope to be getting back to a more active Instagram.
And do you play in any games, like sort of online or Twitch or just personally?
Yeah, I have a friend game that sometimes happens, and then I play with another community on a bunch of one-shots that affect their world.
Very cool. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you've been such a great supporter. Thank you so much. Lee, tell us about you, what you got going on.
Well, I got an Instagram Pathfinder and Dice, which is just basically pictures of dice and stuff and characters. I'm Elhawk99 on Twitch. I do a lot of streams where I basically do character creation live. I don't really do, I don't want to do, but the epic battle something, but we're working on that. Start with something like that, you know? So, but yeah, I'll start later this week when I start streaming again. So, other than that, you know, I run a lot of games over Discord, and yeah, I DM a lot of games, and I play in the Crusade game on your channel, or your Discord rather. The Friday Night Crusades, which we play on your Discord server.
And Lee, I want you to know, like, your note, you wrote a full letter to me. It meant the world, and your trip out here, I am just blown away, and heart. It meant a lot to me. Thank you.
No, of course.
All right, Robert, you were so wrong. You were so maladjusted, and I want the
Oh, John.
Yeah, let's go. Let's throw the blow. So Robert,
right.
You had this wrong-headed thought today on crits, which will be part of our discussion on on advantage.
Can't Robert talk? I mean,
I am the loyal opposition. What can I say?
Exactly. Hey, Kayla, any of you, like, join. The Zoom is up. I would love to have 10, 20 of you jump in. I want all the people on our Discord to join this Zoom. Join us tonight on the chat. It's going to be fun. So if you don't, you're not my friend. I hate you. All right, no, just kidding. All right, so, all right, so Robert, why did you come against me with crits today?
Well, John, are you going to give everyone a chance to introduce?
Yeah.
No, that's
John, you just came out swinging.
John can't wait to get into this.
He's like,
We'll get to the crit tables.
go.
We'll get to the crit tables. Let's.
So yeah. After last week's insanity, where I had 7 games in 6 nights, this has been kind of a slow week. I only have 3. No, actually, only 2 games this week. So my Saturday personal campaign, we just finished Act 2, and we're kind of doing a 1 session instead of weekly. We're doing 1 session per month, which is great because that's going to give me some time to work on my new campaign that is going to be streamed somewhere. Haven't figured out where. Looking forward to that. It will be Castles and Crusades. It will be in Greyhawk, or well, the world of Greyhawk, and looking forward to that. I've already started talking to some people as far as the topics. Friday Night Crusades, all are welcome. I don't care if you want to play, watch, go between the two. All are welcome. Please check out the channel. It is the lowest barrier to entry of any game that you will ever try to get into. All you have to do is roll the character. Really, that's it. Doesn't cost you anything. And yeah, so had lots of fun guest guest castle keeping, I guess, and then playing last week. So, wow. Yeah, but as far as John, yeah, you're just wrong. I mean, I have to go in that direction because
Let's keep it civil, gents. Let's keep it civil.
Let's keep it civil.
Okay.
Unless we need to
John.
kill them, then we don't need to keep it civil if they are going to die anyway.
John, I must say you are incorrect, sir.
Well spoken, yes.
Okay, so let me give Robert a shout out first. I love the Castles and Crusades. Like we're supporting all the CNC stuff. They're great folks, and Chuck and Stephen Chenault, really good supporters of all the old school gaming stuff, and that's all what we're doing with CNC. And I think we probably, Robert, need to talk about actually live streaming on Twitch, what you're doing, because it's getting so good. I'm watching the chat. People love it. And I think it would be so fun to actually stream that on Twitch. Now,
I don't have an issue with it. I just don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Like I said, I've been working hard to make sure that low barrier. No, don't want to make anybody feel that.
exactly,
Yeah,
which is what I love.
think
But
so.
I've seen that barrier fall, and I've seen people just like embracing it. I'm watching the chat in Discord, and people are blowing up and so excited. So the low barrier worked, but people like you, and as a DM, you got to stop kind of running to the shade. You can do this, man.
I listen. I have no issue running the game on stream. I think last Tuesday you might have. I would hope
It was awesome. I had
It
so
was
much fun.
awesome. Yes, like, all right. So that's part of it. But now, let's get to the beatdown. So, your
I can't talk about what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
You're skipping me and Evie.
no, I'm going to you both. The beatdown starts with you, Tim. So he Robert was a principal objector to the crit tables, and
Well,
I
believe
think that's
he said
wrong.
He was less enamored, which is a whole different ball of wax.
That's
than
true.
anti. He
True.
was less enamored because he went through a few moments of fear and angst about losing Lilith. And I mean, that will induce the threat of losing a cool character. Everyone had that same angst. Remember?
They do. They should, right?
Remember, Evie, that same angst?
Yeah, a little
So-
bit. I remember a little bit of that same angst.
It passed quickly, and unfortunately, so did Millie.
Oh!
Well played. Well.
Well, I mean, it was the crit tables. It was so here's the thing. Well, actually, Tim, I'm sorry. I don't want.
But I was just gonna go and hey, I'm not nearly as prolific as all the other streamers because I just play on Lord Gazumba channel. But on July 3rd in the morning, the Underdogs,
Nice.
my Barbarian campaign will be released in an adventure I'm calling Desperate Lands.
All right.
And then at the virtual Greyhawk Con, I'll be doing the Dark Hand will be riding out once again, and there will be an adventure I've titled Between a Rock and a Hard Place.
Nice.
So yeah, not very, not like a full-time players like you guys.
All right, Evelyn, you got a new stream coming up on Monday nights. Tell us about it.
All right, so starting actually this coming Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, over on Magic's Twitch stream. That's Magic ED on Twitch. We are starting up a Pathfinder 2E campaign called the Extinction Curse. It's a set in a circus, and the 4 players are playing various they're adventurers, but they also work in the circus. This circus called the Circus of Wandering Wonders, I believe.
No, the Wayward Wonders, which is like really connected to the Wayward Bolt. So I thought it was a really fun connection.
So we'll be starting with our session 1 on Monday night, and I will be playing a Celestial Bloodline Sorcerer in that, along with a couple of other people who are actually BlueBox Mad Chatter regulars in our streams, who also happen to play World of Warcraft with me. So it should be fun. And Magic is actually, or Terry, as you know him here, is actually our DM for that. So should be a good time. It'll be first time playing Pathfinder 2E, so I'm really excited to
love
check
it.
it out.
And love Terry. Love you, like awesome. It's gonna be so much fun. So make sure you check that out. And the Children of Dirt comes on right before that, and they're gonna raid into what you do. It's gonna be a great time.
Though there will be no Children of Dirt this week because Josh is moving. So
Yeah, I think he's off for 2. I think they said
they're taking 2 weeks off.
Right. Yeah, because this stupid move to LA. I told him to come to Nashville. I don't know what he's doing.
While he's moving.
Yeah.
It's a mobile device.
Move and mail them out, so hopefully he gets those. But
Exactly.
I think Kristen is also traveling this week, so it works out.
Yeah,
Well-
she's camping this weekend. Or well, actually, she's now traveling and camping.
And so, Honeybee, we hear you, but we don't see you. Are you popping on the live stream for the chat or no?
I'd like to, but I'm driving, and so I'm trying really hard. Not to
Okay,
be a bad
then stay on audio. No worries. All right. So let me come back to Thomas, Celtic Boar. You've been such a great member of the community. I've seen your chats and your contributions. What is your thought on this whole idea of what we could do to grow the channel? Oh, wait, we got someone else coming in. Here we got another one. Good. Everyone come in. This is an open chat. We want everyone to join. Sean Worley is joining us now. But Thomas, you have been part of this, and Celtic Boar is a known commodity among all the chatters here on BlueBox. What are your thoughts on what we could do to make this stream better and to grow the community?
I think it's great so far. Like what you guys have going on is amazing. That's why I watch every week. Depending on what you do, I like the idea of what you said about doing the one shots. I think something like Lord Gazumba does, you bring in other people maybe with your cast, have little expansions that affect the world but aren't just the main cast. I mean, that's a great idea. I'm in another community who runs one shots with just the community, and we affect the world that the DM and the cast play in. So options that they give us options to actually mess up or help their world one way or another.
No, I love that. So do you DM Thomas at all, or do you just play? Or
I'm working on it. I'm working on doing my first DM. I haven't yet.
Okay.
But I love playing. I play as much as I can.
Man, look, I'd love to talk to you because I like building DMs. I think you would be great at it. But that's a really good point of view. Now, Jester, you just jumped on.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this topic?
Give me 1 sec.
Okay, Lee, while he's getting 1 sec, what are your thoughts on this topic?
I don't know. I think the one shots are a really good idea. I think it was really cool how you did, and unfortunately, I have to work. Hopefully, with this new job, I'm working to get more consistent hours so I can actually make more of the streams. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I would suggest one thing, which is that you know how you have the big grand 1000-bit thing where you can auto restore an entire character. And maybe this is a crazy idea, but maybe you could put that as a it has to be done with channel points, because that way that's just a thought. I don't know. Just something I was thinking.
Thought it was
Go ahead. Sorry.
It can be done with channel points, but it is also able to be done with bits. She's suggesting that we do it with just channel points and not bits.
All right. So
The other way around.
Correct. Because we don't want. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was probably the first person to say I really don't like, and where I'm less enamored of crit tables, I really don't like the big. You know, I know, John. I know you work it into the story, so it's like not an automatic thing.
I'm sorry, Rob. I can't hear you, Robert. You're gone. What's that? What?
I think it's, yeah. That one's just I don't like at all. It hasn't appealed for me from day one, and I don't think that anything about that is going to change my mind.
Point of order, sir.
Yes.
I would like to suggest that because so many watchers can influence the play either way, it is okay to do it. It is above board to have that as an option. If they couldn't give advantages, then it should not be an option. Right? Because I've given John tons of advantages. Right, Evie?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then so you know, because everyone's influencing you either way, they can do different stuff, and so it gets a little wilder with all the different options. And it's kind of above board because it's.
I can see where Robert's coming from on this, though. It is a lot, even with the narrative, you know, working it in. It's still a lot to offer up to.
Okay.
And
no, I love that. Sorry, Tim, Lee. I love Lee's point. And DM Dingbat said Savage John was on tonight. I don't feel savage, but I guess that maybe it's happening. But this is the core.
It's entertainment and it's fun and it gets interaction.
Yeah, but this is the core of what. So I want to make my stream better. And please, I'm telling you, in my Discord, you can join. I'll put you on this Zoom. We could have 20, 30, 40 people. If you're watching and you're chatting, Anna B. Meyer, DM Dingbat, all of you, join the Zoom. You could be on this. Talk to us. Help us. I want your input now.
So, for the healing, for the big heal, I would be okay if it went to here's the problem I have, and I'm not crazy about the mechanic in any form, but if it's if we want to have it for heal, I'm better with it being just for channel points, because one of the things that you stressed early on is that this is not trying to monetize the chat.
Right. No, never. Right. Yeah.
And let's face it. I mean, story, basically, the story part of it aside, if there's a chance to spend bits to potentially save a character, somebody we've seen over and I
would do it myself anonymously.
Somebody is going to pay that price. I mean, it's going to happen over and over, and to the point where it's like, well,
Robert, should it not though? We're not playing tiddlywinks. This is not checkers. This is combat in the throes of danger. Should it not be dangerous?
But what do we no? But what are we talking? I'm talking about. I'm not talking about them being in danger. I'm talking about the healing. The 1,000. How many bits is it for the healing
10,000.
potion? The
It's
10,000?
it's a 10,000 for one person, or 1,000 for one person, sorry, and 2,500 for the
Right.
party.
Right. The
Or a
the,
party
the,
heal.
the big the big full health heal. However, whatever form you decide to take it, somebody is going to pay that money to get that heal because they don't want to lose that character.
Mm-hmm.
It's
All right, so help me with that, because like I like that engagement, but I don't want people to feel like they're being used. So is that the right way, Tim?
That's why the channel points theory.
Yeah.
It becomes engagement because you want to have, because you're the people who have the channel points to do it are people who watch the streams who have the most emotional investment in
Right.
the characters because they're the ones watching the stream.
Well, and the channel
Yeah.
point costs for those are pretty high. I mean, it takes 40,000 channel
Right.
points to do for one, and then 75,000 for the party.
So it's a
Right.
big deal.
you
Yeah,
have
it's
to
an
be
investment.
have involved for a while to be able to get that many channel points.
Yeah,
it's an
I'm like-
investment of their time. I mean,
Mhm.
and that, and if you're going to have the mechanic there, that's I feel in the spirit of what you said you want Blue Box to be. I feel that's more appropriate than the chance. that
Robert, what I
somebody is
said,
going to decide-
what I
Yeah.
said, I want Blue Box to be. You think I'm fronting in some way? Oh, let's go!
I actually think the bits right now are very price low, and that's
Yes.
for the community. But from what I've
The
seen
bit
in other
side,
games,
yeah.
you get like 500 bits is like one D20 inspiration.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Like, and a lot of channels do that, but they don't do the bigger restorations, heals. And I understand not wanting to do you're not going this for the money. We all know that. But putting it a little higher usually is like people's like, okay, I can only do one today, or one next stream instead of I can do 500. I can do one advantage for each person,
So wait. I'm sorry. So Thomas, when you look at things like advantage and inspiration, what would you recommend for the channel? Because I do think advantage has gotten out of hand. It's too much. I have players that have 10, 20 advantages, and every time they roll, they're rolling 2 d20s. That's too much. Jay does hero points. I think that makes more sense. What would you think makes? How could we balance this, Thomas?
I know a lot of others just do inspiration, so you get one reroll. So it's not roll 2 dice, which it doesn't matter. I guess it's roll one after the other, but just that stability. If you're rolling both dice, right off the bat. Whereas you gotta roll once to be, ooh, I gotta use it now, and you can still get lower. I don't know if that makes sense because it's sort of the same, but
Well,
there's
I mean,
like so many advantages.
you
Well,
could
it's
always
also-
do it where
Right.
the second die that if you get the reroll, you have to take whatever the result of the second D20
Yes,
roll
that
is.
is what
Also,
they do.
Yeah,
if you
which is different than advantage.
Or
Yes.
if you have that's a system very similar to fate coins in the what's the one old 40k RPG. Each character has a number of fate points per day.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, so luck points, fate points, hero points. That's a more common context for that. I like that.
But it does. Then you could argue that the advantage is more likely to be. It doesn't build up the same way because if you know and you have them banked, then when you roll, you don't have to spend it if you get a good roll. Whereas if you roll 2 nat 20 on an advantage, you still wasted the advantage, even though you would have already gotten the really high roll anyway. If that makes sense. So
Well, I mean, for us with 2 nat 20s though, it's an automatic crit. Like that's how John handles
I
that.
know.
It's not a wasted.
It's like an 18 and a 19, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I think when you give advantage to like crit confirmations,
Right.
that's when it gets a little kind of wonky.
Why?
Just because you have advantage on like an attack, but like a crit confirmation can potentially be game breaking.
So are you saying,
disadvantage on
Jester,
confirmation.
so I want to make sure, so are you saying, for example, you think that you could have advantage on the initial roll, but the crit confirmation roll should not be with advantage? Is that what you're saying?
So the way you do your crit confirmations, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you do whatever modifiers were part of the attack to begin with, right? So, like, if the attack had advantage.
Correct. Yes, it's a basic. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if they, I'm sorry. Wait. So I'm sorry. I want to be clear. Only if they have an initial additional advantage. So if they used advantage on the hit and they got a nat 20 because they rolled 2 and they hit that nat 20, then when they roll confirmation, they have to have an additional advantage, which is, I think, where I want to change my game. It's too much. It doubles the rolls.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think it adds. It gives a lot of ability to drop extra dice into the.
Exactly. All right. So Tim's about to jump out of his shirt, his great blue box shirt. So let me go to Tim. Go ahead.
I kind of had a similar thing. I thought with using the special hero points and hero points like Lord Gazumba, and so it was just too easy to get a special, and so it was just so I adjusted, the way we use I use specials a little differently than him, but that's okay. So there's no way to anyone give a special. You can give a hero point, which is like a +1 they have to declare before a roll, and for 100 bits, and then once a player gets 10 of them, they can choose to cash them in for one special. So that's kind of how I did it. So it kind of dams the river a bit, so only a little bit flows through instead of just boom, 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 boom. They have just...
Thomas?
I say with, I agree with Tim. You got to figure out the right balance, because sometimes you get too much and it just keeps going and going and going. You got to figure out where, okay, do you want just one inspiration? Do you just want advantage? Or I actually think that the whole full restoration or full heal, that's a lot. I don't see that a lot in other places. I've seen it in a couple streams, but not a lot.
Right.
What you should think about is, especially since it's solo, like 1,000 actually is very, like, I don't want to like say you need to raise your game, people give you more money, but it's not much to give them a full horse.
I think Robert was right, where it should just be channel points. Mostly because I didn't know you could buy it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm struggling with, because I love. So I'm being completely candid here with all of our viewers. I love people jumping in and supporting. I do this with other channels. You give $5, whatever, and you're trying to help the channel and grow the stream. I love that, but I'm not after their money at all. So, is this something I should just do away with? Go to a modified version of it? Robert, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, advantages, I haven't figured out exactly where you should go with the advantages. I mean, I kind of like those. It is literally the big ticket item that bothers me, because that there are people on channel, some who can definitely afford it, some who may just be so emotionally invested that they're going to spend it even if they can't afford it. And I know you're not looking for it. I mean, that's my point. You're not looking for it. You're not asking them to. People are going to do it anyway because they are emotionally invested in these characters. You saw the entire server was in mourning when Millie died. I mean, I don't even want to think about what would have happened if Lilith had died. It already is.
All right, so Robert, let's stop there for a second. Should Millie not have died? I mean, is that not part of the game?
She definitely should have.
Right, but I want to make sure that we're not, I want to make sure we're not arguing two different things at the same time.
You're right,
Three
right.
different things, because there's the question of should Millie have died. I mean, it's part of the game. It's been part of the game forever. But what we have here now is people with an incentive because they want to keep the character alive, spending money that they may or may not have to keep the character alive because they're that invested.
Look, Robert, I want everyone on Blue Box to know, if you spend money you don't have to keep a character alive, you let me know, I'll send that money back to you. I don't care. This is not about money to me. It's about gaming and fun. I don't, like that hurts my soul to think people are giving up things they don't have to, like, no, I just want to
Well, I
play the
think that's where the channel points option is a great idea, is you remove that, like, big heal, whatever.
Right.
If you only make it channel points, then it's a community, like this is showing my investment here.
Okay, so
in a
I
big
love
channel
that.
point.
I love that. Is that, though, not, and I'm being provocative here of purpose, is that not more manipulative? Because I'm saying, if you don't watch my channel and join it and watch it all the time, you cannot influence this.
That's
When you say it like that, it is.
yeah. That's the point of channel points, though, is it's a reward for for participation, for being here. For
Lee.
It's, you have low tier channel point things that could
Right.
just maybe, you know, you could give someone, I don't know, a standard healing potion, but not in combat, like an out of combat item for a low amount of channel points. But something that actually affects combat or that affects death saving throws, like, those are big investments. They're not just something someone should be able to throw $10 at.
And
if
not
that
only
makes
that,
sense.
to go even a step further, you asked, well, you know, isn't that forcing people to spend the time? Well, here's the question I have for you. If you haven't spent the time on the channel, how invested are you in that character? I mean, it's the people who have spent the time with the channel that are going to be invested in the characters that they're going to want to save or do what they can to save those characters.
Right.
I mean,
no, that's a really good point, Robert. And I guess
I want new people. I would love to see 200 people watching every single show, and you know, we'll get there someday.
And
but,
I mean, Lilith or a T-shirt, that's a tough.
You can only get one T-shirt.
Only to Fraley, but
no,
it's the kind of thing where you put in the time and you will grow attached to those characters, and at that point, I mean, you've spent the time. Okay, I'd be okay with that. It's if you're a new person to the channel, hopefully you'll see how invested everyone is. You'll stay, you'll watch, you'll want to see more, and eventually you will be at that point where you too have, you know, the channel points to make that kind of influence.
Okay, so I want to do a quick pause here. I've seen Kristen, D&D Imposter, she popped in, she said something a moment ago, and it becomes a bigger problem as we grow. And I just want to take one moment to say thank you. Thank you, thank you. All the folks that came out for Blue Box Con, my 50th birthday, me getting old, all this gray hair. I am still rocked. Mainly because Tim didn't come, but also because Robert did, and Lisi did. Thomas did not, but Jester did, and no, I'm teasing. But thank you so much to all of you. It has, I can't stop thinking about it. It was amazing, and you cannot imagine what we're going to do for 2022. It's going to be amazing next year. And I'm talking to Thomas and Evelyn, and we're going to have a great con next year. Now, advantages. So let's put this to bed, Lisi. Your note to me was amazing. I would like to get your thoughts and Thomas's thoughts on how I should handle advantage, because my thought is to restrict them. So maybe a max of 5 per player, or some other way to reduce the impact, because it doubles the odds of crits and so.
+5. You could change out the advantages and say instead of advantage, you can give any player a +5 by.
So it's like more like an inspiration, like a D6. It would be like, okay.
It's an automatic 5 instead of having to roll for it, because that way you have the same theory of the players for important rolls. They have an extra thing, something that they can bank on to get the number up, and it so it comes with that. It comes with the natural urge that we all have to, like, yes, this is what we want for good. When we see people role playing, when we see players in trouble, and the characters are in dire straits, and we want to help, and we're throwing bits because we're so emotionally invested in the characters to. But if you take it to +5, it doesn't double the odds of crits.
Lee,
So-
how did I get so blessed to have you on my stream? Thank you so much. I love that.
That's
Jester,
a
go
great
ahead.
Idea. I was just going to say that's a great idea, and that can be a moment of expertise or a moment of divine inspiration from the gods, from the channel, from the ether that might sway an important check or save, but not necessarily, or attack, but not necessarily like give an opportunity for massive critical.
All right, so I'm watching the chat here. The chat's blowing up. Honeybee is going to pop in here in a second. Storm Power, thank you. Yeah, I mean, just...
Kayla had a raid earlier.
Yeah, Kayla had 19 on the raid. Time Lord's wife, she's amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I want to make sure, though... Oh, Mystical Unicorn, Amanda, good to see you. In terms of limited advantages, take them away from the bit option and have them, the channel points, then you actually help both them, and I like that. Okay, so yeah, that's my point. I want the players to feel like the viewers can influence, but I don't want it to be over the top with it. Now, Thomas, I wanted to come back to you. What are your thoughts on all you've heard here?
I think there's a lot of good ideas. I like, inspiration. I like the, you could just do like a simple D6 inspiration, D4 inspiration,
Right.
helps at all times, and then. If people want to do a little more, maybe you could do like just a D20 inspiration. The whole advantage thing, advantages do get out of control a little quick.
They have, yes, you're right.
If you roll that second one, you use it no matter what. So you're gambling, but you have that chance.
Right.
You take that chance.
Right.
And yeah, it should just be for like attack rolls and saves, skill. It shouldn't be for like double checks or, the crit checks. And I think actually channel point. I like the idea of channel points. You could break it up in different categories, but it should be for the big ticket items and like not just a full heal and spells. Either
Right.
or.
Right.
Like break it up, like because right now you're saying
Okay.
I like that,
all the
yeah.
way down the road is they're completely better. Well, why don't you be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna do his spell, so he better take care of himself. Because like you give all the spells back to a cleric, that's a big game. That's a big game changer.
Yeah.
Or, maybe not a total complete heal. Maybe it just saves them from dying. They're in the ICU, but they don't bleed out or die. And
Auto
then it's not like-
or,
You're back.
Or an aura of life where they have, say, 100 hit points to distribute how they might want to.
yeah. Or
That's getting into bookkeeping.
Well, that's math.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's bookkeeping, and that's
We can
you.
also do maybe not a full restore even, but just a single spell slot. So the viewers could each spot, and you can only do one per character per.
I like that. Yes, a single cell. We got another one. Danny's joining. Honeybee's coming in. Let's go. No, I like that though. Like a single spell slot. That's a good idea. Tim, we're gonna get to crits in a minute because I want to conclude the stream tonight talking about my most important topic, which is all the people that were totally wrong-headed about crits. But hello, Danny.
I love big crits.
I love big crits, and I cannot lie. All right, so we're talking we're talking about now just mainly advantages. So my thought is to limit, I think maybe 5 max advantages per player and DM, and I do want to introduce inspiration. I think that kind of I like who said D4. So, because I think Thomas. D6 is the 5e rule, but I like the D4 advantage because I felt like D6 was too hard, too much inspiration, but the D4 could work quite well, and I think I may bring that into my game. Thomas?
Yeah, and it brings up, if you know you're going to be close, but you're not sure, especially if they don't know the DC beforehand and they get like a 17, it's like, adding that D4 onto it could make all the difference. So I think it's a lot of, break things up into smaller things instead of the full restores, the full advantages, and so that way people don't have 1,000,001 different advantages.
Exactly, and that's the battle I'm facing as a DM. I want the viewers to feel like they can impact the game, but I don't want them to feel like I'm merchandising them and trying to get money from them. I'm not. I like them doing things that contribute to the game, and I think that's so. Storm Power, you said what Carlos does. Carlos Lysing, I'm assuming. What does he do on his stream, Storm Power? And if anyone else here knows, tell me. Because Carlos he's amazing. I love that guy.
I think. Go ahead.
No.
I think that even 5 might be too many, honestly. I think even just 3 and something else that might be like a big ticket item, like a legendary resistance type item where they can once use this ticket item to auto pass a big save, or something like that, because even 5 gets into a lot of bookkeeping when you have 4 or 5 players.
Well, I mean, if considering the players are tracking their own, I don't know that that's necessarily true. And if you go too far in the other direction, well, that introduces different issues. I mean, then it doesn't even feel like.
So what issues, Robert?
Well, I mean, if we go to 5 and limit it to 5, that I think that's a reasonable number. If you go down to like 3, or I don't know. It just feels like suddenly everything's changed and not quite sure what's going on anymore. Maybe, and it's something that might pass and you might get used to it. I just think it's something where you need to tone it down, but you don't want to strip it of the things that people have enjoyed. So go so far.
That's true.
In stripping the things that people have enjoyed.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of afraid of, because Robert, we've had a good stream and people are loving it and it's good. I like the interaction from the players and the viewers, and but also I feel as we grow, it's getting a bit over the top. So that's the whole point of this, is to Danny, I've seen you in many different backgrounds and birds, and now you got Tile. Thank you so much for joining us. But that's what I'm really want to talk about tonight, is making sure that it feels connected, people like it, but also that it's not. I do not want to be manipulating people for money. That's just that hurts my heart to think about that.
By the way, can we make something clear here? I don't think anyone here for a second believes you're intentionally trying to manipulate anyone. And
Agreed.
It's I mean any sense of it's things that happen, and honestly sometimes I think some of the things that I'm concerned about is because it would never occur to you to manipulate people for money, that or you would never think that it didn't occur that it might feel to some people possibly. It's like the heal. It sounds like a great idea. It's one of those things, the law of unintended consequences.
Right.
There are people who are going to pay that money, and you're not you didn't put it in there to make money from it, but people will go and pay that money because.
Okay. So Robert, like big ups, man. That hurt my heart. Like love, it's amazing. But that's what I'm talking about. So if I want to make advantages, for example, instead of 100, 200, and a limit of 5, and people have to pay twice as much to put an advantage on a player, then they can look at me and say, "Oh, you're just trying to get more money from me." I'm not. I'm just trying to make the game more fair.
It's twice as much for disadvantage as well, John.
Well, exactly. All right. So let's go, Lisi, and then Tim, and then Evelyn.
Well, if you're trying to make the game more fair, then changing up the advantages to something other than, say, like a +5 or an inspiration dice, something where it doesn't do the odds as much, but it's still the same kind of, we can gift them to the players with channel points or bits because we, but it's the same level of engagement without all the extra, it doesn't fit the odds as much.
I like that. That's good. All right, Thomas?
I was thinking the question. How many channel points does this group that's on Zoom right now have? I have like 48,000, and I watch pretty much every week. I'm sure Robert has probably pretty more, but I'm curious, how many do you guys have? It's not easy.
I've got 36. I've got 36,000, but I've also spent well over 125,000.
I only have 19,000. That's trying to work through all this streaming. So,
Yeah, I can see your internet struggling even tonight, Lee. So you'll get there though, for sure.
I have 28 or 29,000, and that's because I had a bunch and I spent it to bring Winston back and do a 40 store.
Jay has 146,000. Moose has 70. Steve has 150. Look at the chat. Mayamorph 117. Wow. Good on all of you. Send me what you want. I'll send it out to you. All right. So Thomas, you had a point with this.
Yeah. So as you see, like I watch pretty much almost every Tuesday, and I don't even have enough points to do that. So depending on what you want to do with the channel points, you can actually it is not overpowered to do channel points just for watching, because it takes a lot of watching, and you can even do like a simple thing for like 10,000, just giving like an inspiration, or for like, so people can like watch or not, or if they want to save for t-shirts. I already saw that people want to save over 100,000 channel points for a t-shirt. So it really depends. And then if you also have the bits, you could do small bits that are limited.
I think that's really good. Thank you, Thomas. And we got the chat blowing up here. We got Demon Gund. He is the Tailspire extraordinary creator. He's going to be on our charity stream. Jay and I are working on a charity stream coming up here very soon. And we're going to have the whole Tailspire community. The folks from Bouncy Rock and Charles and John, Demon Gund, are going to be with us on that. And we're going to raise a bunch of money for charity. Now, Tim, I'm coming to you, Tim, because I want to.
That was the one next.
I want to conclude with crits, but Tim, go ahead. What are your thoughts on?
I was just going to say that. Now that you said that, I was going to say John's real smart, and he's surveyed kind of a feel for everybody and gotten a lot of good ideas. I'm sure he'll figure out a pretty cool way to manage it. But I'm not here for advantages.
Well,
I'm your crits. So anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I want. Go ahead.
Channel point rewards go really quickly. Since I have been working on setting them up for us, we can also limit the amount of uses of certain channel point rewards as well. So if you want to just say there can only be one of these given during the time of this, while we're broadcasting this stream, it can only be used once. Like a full restore could only be used once.
I like that.
And that's by the whole community. That's not just per person. That would be for so if someone wanted to use a full restore for a player, they could only use it for one player during the stream, because we could limit it to just that. Or, only 5 advantages could be given during a stream or something like that. That would be a discussion to have, but there are ways to limit the channel point rewards that are given to the entire chat during the whenever a stream is live.
No, I love that, and that's what we will do. I think that's a really good. And we're going to come back to Danny because Danny came in late, and I really want to hear her thoughts on this. But I want everyone to look at the chat. We have Demon Goon John, we have Lord Gazumba Jay. That charity stream is going to be off the charts when we do this. I've got both the Bouncy Rock folks, the actual developers of Tailspire, plus Charles, who is Illustari, and John, who is Demon Gund. And then I have a whole group of CEOs that are, I'm not trying to flex, so I don't want to say too much, but I'm just like, these are people, no, Tim, you can flex. I'm not trying to flex here, but I've got some people that I think can really raise money for St. Jude's. And we're going to crush this charity stuff here in July. And so please stay tuned and be a part of that. Danny, before we get into crits, which is how I want to conclude my stream tonight, I want your thoughts on managing advantages and inspiration and balancing my game, because I think it was good when I had, 100 followers and 20 subs, and there were just a few advantages coming in. But now we're getting big and we're growing, and it's hitting pretty hard and changing the dynamics of the game. What are your thoughts, Danny?
So I don't want to repeat stuff that has been said. I had to miss it. I'm sorry. I didn't have service on the way home.
No, go ahead and repeat, because you say it so much more nicely. Go ahead.
So I like the idea of using channel points, because not only does that I like what's been said. I like the idea of limiting how many you can do per stream, but also it forces it so it's not a money thing. So you said that you were worried that people might think that you're trying to get money out of them by increasing the cost of, or the amount of hits that are needed. If they're using channel points, it's literally means they've been following you long enough and they've accrued long enough to so that they actually care. They're not just throwing money at something, and they're not getting. I don't think you get money from channel points. But if somebody uses channel points, it's because they honestly care and they want it to happen. It's something they've been saving up to. I forget who mentioned it. People were saving up for T-shirts. That was one thing that I wanted to do. But in that one episode after the incident with the paling where Winston was dying, Evie, I should retract what I said earlier. Evie saved Winston with her fate chit. But before she did that, I spent how many points that I had on a full restore front as well.
No, I love that, Danny, and that's
I was invested.
Yes, and I love that, because I think I want viewers to be able to impact the game with time, but then I also want to make sure that if you are just passionate about something that's happening and you want to jump in and influence the game with a fate, I do want that to happen, but not in a way that people feel like I'm trying to get money out of them, just that they can be part of the game and participate. Jester, you've been raising your hand for 3 minutes, so.
One thing that Mystical Unicorn Pang mentioned about an issue they saw with limiting the number of advantages, and this ties into what Evelyn was saying, is, and another streamer mentioned, or another Mad Chatter mentioned, that you incorporate more of a use-or-lose system, so that, say, you set it at 5 advantages and people can spend channel points to use them, but they reset at the end of the session. So
yeah, that's
bookkeeping is done by how many have been redeemed, so to speak. You don't have to keep track of who has 37 advantages or.
Well, exactly. That's what I want to stop. So a limit and a. So Evelyn, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, because Obsidian Risk actually mentioned in chat the idea of the use or lose system. Yeah, so basically that encourages people actually using the advantages they have rather than maybe saving them up.
Right.
And because there are times where we have advantages but we're holding on to them because maybe something so we don't necessarily use advantage when we have it, which is why I now have a lot of advantages.
And that doubles the odds. I had this argument with Robert today about 4 d20s and 1 in 160,000 odds, which gets cut in half, 1 in 80,000 odds if you have advantage, and that's something I want to fix with BlueBox.
Or that's a moment where you can have channel points where people are investing their time and effort being an advantage that they get to hold on to between sessions, and maybe that's limited to 2, and then the other 3 can be bought with your bits. That way you're not taking that away from the community if they want to spend bits, but you're also incentivizing people using channel points to have something that they're investing into a character with.
I like that.
So for the user,
Let's go. Robert and then Lee. Robert, then Lee.
Yeah, so for user to lose it, I mean, I like the idea. I mean, it helps the issue of making sure that it doesn't take over the game. However, I do think if you do user to lose it, you have to do it with just channel points. You cannot have people spending money. That's my instinct too, right? Like I don't want people like they give me $10 and then the players lose it. That's what I'm struggling with, because I want people to jump in and participate. Honestly, I don't hate money coming in to help pay for the computers and all that stuff, but I don't want people to feel used by that. That's a great point. Thoughts from the community?
Well, I would say, like, basically once we reach whatever the cap is for the session, let us as players, because it's our job to keep track of our advantages and disadvantages and everything. We need to be able to make sure that we say, okay, I've hit my max today, so that way the community knows that's watching, like, they can't give us that player any more advantages for that session. Like I've hit 5 or I've hit 10 or whatever that max is, and then that way people aren't spending more channel points or bits even to continue trying to give because they don't know.
Or if it's something you can incorporate into the graphic somehow of like stars next to their name, or I know it's a difficult, but like
there wouldn't be a way to do
I think you're saying what Robert just said. I pulled up here on the screen. People should see it. He said we need an active tracker on the stream screen. That I think is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Because if anyone shows up midstream, they're going to have no idea.
Exactly. Yes. So can we do that?
It's a pain, to implement, but if you are able to do it some way, like I said, stars next to someone's name or something that can be updated in a somewhat easy manner if you use like Ninja or something. But
I love that. If we can, Evelyn, make it happen.
Evelyn's like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
I literally have no idea how to do
I don't either. But
something that would be controlled on John's side of things, which means we would have to be constantly telling you, "Hey, we need you to update this."
Well, I could do that.
Another thing in your.
I could do that. Yeah. Conceptually, I think that's what we. So I told Lee and then Thomas. So Lee and then Thomas.
Nightbot. I don't know that Nightbot would be able to keep. Like, I would have to manually consistently update Nightbot to have it in that.
So Demon Goon said, look into stream loots. I'm sure there's automated tech. We can do this. Let's not be limited by tech. Let's think about conceptual. What we want.
With Nightbot specifically, since that was one of the things we would have to manually add that to Nightbot, and that is not something that either of us have the capacity during a live stream to deal with.
No, we
don't. That is not an option.
we go Robert, and then Lee, and then Thomas. I keep telling. I'm going to come in.
What I'm going to want to talk to you about this is Kayla. On her stream, they have, and it's not her doing it. It's actually one of her moderators. They have different levels of fate.
Oh, okay.
And such.
Is Kayla on?
The person is actively updating.
I don't see Kayla in the chat, so I don't want to talk. No, I'm teasing.
But is actively updating when fate stuff is given, fate's used, and that would be if you're going to do an active tracker, you would have to have some figure out ask how they're what they're doing with that, and then have somebody responsible for handling that.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense to me a lot.
Just see Danny's comment in the chat over here.
Yeah, I'm looking.
She says that Streamlabs actually has a premium update that tracks Twitch channel point expenditures. So, since we do use Streamlabs, that would be.
Yes, I like that. We should do that. See, I knew that was a reason I was doing this tonight. I knew I would get ideas from my friend. So thank you. We're gonna get to crits, Tim. Just sit down. It's coming. We're gonna do the pièce de résistance with the crits, and it's coming here very, very soon. I want to go to Lee and Thomas. Lee, go ahead.
I was just going to say that doing the limited would be very difficult on your end with books.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. Can you say that again? Because we're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that doing the limiting the number of advantages or whatever you want to do track would make it that much difficult for you.
Okay. Okay, I think I got that. That makes sense to me. We're on the same page there. Thomas, Celtic Boar.
I was thinking, I watch a lot of different streams, and they do things differently everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you want people to influence the game, but I also don't think that limiting influence will turn away a lot of people either. It
Right.
There are a lot of times people watch that never influence, or streams that you can't influence.
No, yeah, I see that. Like, I see people that lurk and they never do anything, but they still watch. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I think limiting your influence, your advantage, your inspiro, or whatever you want to do for Blue Box is more than fine, because everybody doesn't need to spend 500 bits, 100 bits per session, even if it's like somebody does that every 4 sessions, because it's limited. And people slowly get around to I want to give this or I want to give that, and those who can give sometimes just give a lot more, then nobody else has to worry about it.
Right. And you can't please everyone, as Demon Goon said. That's really well said. And I think that's where we have to go, because I want viewers to be able to participate, but I don't want to just utterly tilt the game out of balance, which I have felt is happening too much now. Crits are over the top when you have advantage on every roll, 2d20s. No, Tim, I love crits. Don't get me wrong, but they have to be balanced. They have to be in the context of the game, and so confirmations are important, which Robert said he doesn't really use in his game. Shame on you, Robert. But then I really, I'm teasing. All right, so let's talk about crits. And as we discuss crits, I think they are critical to the game. Pun intended.
So,
go ahead, Robert. I'll let you go first, then Tim.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let me start with this. Tim, how long have you been playing with Jay?
Well, I started playing 40 years ago, Val.
Approximately how many characters do you have in Jay's campaign?
I don't know.
So,
what's your point, Robert? Robert, you're coming to Tim. Let's go.
Dozens of characters, and listen, one. It's okay. Well, I've got another.
I think the problem is people get attached to a character when they should be attached to the story and the story that goes with it.
Oh, and look, I got to give Terry credit.
Anyway, but I want to say up front, though, this is important. The critical system you choose should support the aesthetic of the game. So there is no right or wrong answer, as long as it supports the aesthetic of the game. If you want it to be grittier and combat to have an element of fear and danger that's constantly lurking, then it's great to have a brutal crit. If you want to have it where people can get some extra good hits in, you just have a toned down one. It all depends on the aesthetic of the game, as you run it.
All right, Evelyn, you're bursting out of your chair there.
I would like to temporarily derail the conversation because there has been another request unrelated to the other things.
Oh, okay.
Ian Risk was asking about us looking into An incredibly important improvement would be real-time closed captions and other upgrades to increase accessibility for all populations.
Oh, no, I love that. And I've talked to you about that a bit, Evelyn. There are options out there. Do you have any thoughts on that, or what
I
we could
think
do?
I want to, whatever we end up using for closed captioning, because I think that would be a very good thing for us to have, and definitely a usable thing. But I want to make sure that we're using something that's very as accurate as possible. Because I
Right.
don't want to make it.
I see some that are
something
like
that makes
they're
it
completely
harder for people to
yeah, like
follow us.
I've watched some that have closed captioning and it makes no sense. Like you can't even
Yeah,
read it.
I want to make sure that we're finding something. So if anybody in the community, on their channels, uses a closed captioning service that they really like, they could recommend, because I want to make sure that we are providing the best accessibility for our hard of hearing and deaf viewers as possible.
That's awesome.
No, I think we should do that for sure. And I know you were not trying to distract Tim from his crit discussion, so we're going to go back to him. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm on a short.
Go ahead. I know you got to bounce. Go ahead.
Bounce shortly, but I did want to say this: that I'm an enabler, and it's John's fault. So I just provide the material, and he chooses how to use it. So that's all his fault. So I just want you to know that.
It is all my fault. And as Evelyn knows, I used Tim. I used the Middle Earth role-playing crit tables before I ever met Tim, and they were deadly because I believe in that. I think the whole point of D&D should be danger. It's fun. I don't want to play a character that feels invulnerable. I'm not playing a leveled up model superhero, Superman type character. I want them to feel like they're vulnerable, and that's why I have crits, which are both for the players and against the players. So my main ally left. Robert, tell me why I'm wrong.
So here's the funny thing, Tim, and it's pity that Tim just left because it kind of goes to his point. He was talking about, invest in characters, but you should be invested in the story. And here's the thing: the story, the characters, and what happens to the characters is the story. Is the story. There's what the characters do. That's part you can't separate the two and say, well, you should really care about the story. Yeah, but do you go just for the story, or you go because you enjoy those characters? Now, again,
okay,
I have absolutely no issue with player characters dying. I've killed enough of them in my day, and I still do. But crits. I mean, and maybe it's because of the fact that I've been playing, running Castles and Crusades games
which I love.
A single crit can kill at first level. A single crit can kill. And just standard crit.
Yeah, but at first level, that's at first level, right? And so Robert, hang on. So what I was pushing you on today in our Discord, and we're gonna raid Jay in a second here, and I love you, man. Thank you for coming out, and you're my best friend. I want to start streaming your Castles and Crusades on my Twitch channel, so there is no love lost here between the two of us, but. This whole idea that crits aren't just against players, they are for players. Look at Evelyn. Evelyn has had some of the most epic, massive crits, one-shot kills on my BBEGs. I go back to my 4th Age campaign. My boy Jordan played Azamir, and he had Storgajol. He swept underneath him, swiped his privies off, and then leaped off his head, and it was all part of an incredible crit. So it's not just against players, it can be for players, and the idea is that combat should be deadly. We're not playing tiddlywinks here. It's not checkers. You're fighting people with sharp edges. And I put in the Discord, I think today, the idea that, hey, the arrow can sometimes hit, or the trebuchet, whatever it was, the missing scale in Smog. And that is what the crit should be. Disagree.
Okay. I mean, listen, you're the rare DM that is happy when your BBEG gets one-shotted. Okay.
No, I love it because it's like, yeah, I celebrate with
I mean,
the players.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, let's put it this way. While I accept if the players, the characters lose, I'd like to see them win, but I'm not going to help them. They're going to have to do it all on their own.
Exactly. Yes. And when they do, I celebrate with joy, but I don't help them with it. So Jester, Thomas, you both look like you're wanting to talk. So go ahead.
You want to go first?
I like crit tables for Blue Box. I believe the style of John's DMing, the style of the play, and the story that the cast can portray and have portrayed so far, crit tables and having that extra level goes right along with the story. I've seen a lot of other games, it would not work. Or, it might just be too much. But I think for what John is building here and for what the cast has done in their role play and stuff, it fits. It really does. It fits to have that extra level hanging over your head.
Okay, Thomas, tell me where to send the money. It's coming. No, I love that. And I saw it in chat too. All the crits. Obsidian Risk said, keep the crits. John, sorry, Robert. And there's no shade. Robert's my friend. They're like, Robert, again, there's no shade here. You do your game the way you do it. I love it. You're a great DM. I've watched your stream. Thank you again so much for doing that while I was on vacation. Your one shot was awesome. Everybody was loving that. Triple Eight said, you don't like it when your bosses get... Mark, I don't either, but it's got to happen sometimes. The bosses can get killed in the same way the players can. All right, back to Robert.
Well, I mean, listen, and if everyone is happy with the crits, listen, I want the match chatters to be happy. I want, they're my people. I love them. This is the reason I run Friday Night Crusades. If there was any, I don't know of any other community where I would have volunteered to do.
And you do so well. Thank you.
Yeah,
we love you, Robert.
that.
We love you.
So, I love. I mean, I love. Listen, going. Blue Box Con. It was the most amazing. Honestly, it was the most amazing thing I'd seen in years. I've been on the internet for a long, long time. I've been a part of many communities going back to the dial-up days. Never seen anything quite like that. There were no clicks. Everybody, it was one people all together, all the time, enjoying each other's company. There was so much love going around that it was just. It blew my mind. It really did. It was really hard going back to the hotel room when everyone was gone. It was rough.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean,
It was
Robert,
hard coming
Lisi.
back to work after that and just being like, no, I had it. You had that whole thing, and then it was just afterward. It's kind of like it's over now,
Yeah.
I mean, we still have the community, and that is great, but you miss seeing your people in person,
I felt the same way. Like, there's been a hole in my heart. I loved what happened, and I want to make sure future cons have nothing to do with my birthday, but they're going to be around that timing just because that's the best time for all of us. But it meant so much to me, and meeting all of you, and Robert, all of you, Lisi and Evelyn and Jester, you showing up at the Ren Fen. I had no idea who you are. Like, you're there with Ali B, and you're in that full costume. I loved it, and I'm counting on you, Celtic Board, to be here next year.
I want to.
I hope you can.
I want to say, John, you are one of the most enthusiastic role players I've ever had at my table, and certainly the most I've ever had at my table in person. That was so cool to be able to run a game for you.
Well, honestly, I felt a little bit awkward because Josh was running a table next door, and I felt like I was too loud. Like I felt like I was.
Always, of course, welcome to the
Yeah, but then I came downstairs to deal with a tech issue, and when I came back up, you had a full table of people just enjoying your game.
They stole your character.
They did, and I loved it. I was like, "Let's go, Lisi!"
And got dragged into, I don't even know what.
Okay.
Terrible summoning ritual. I
All
felt
right,
bad
so-
about that, 'cause I don't think you would have had Wilhelm do that. He would have known better.
All right, so I want to go back up. So Demon Goon John from Tailspire, he said, give bosses legendary resistance to crits a certain number of times per encounter or something to avoid the big bads getting. I've done that. So I have already done that with, especially with my mythic encounters. There are demons and other types of creatures which have crit resistance. So that is a really, really good way to balance that. But also, I don't want to kill my PCs. I want it all to be well balanced. So I think the confirmations and all of that are part of how you make a balanced game. And yes, I do have crit resistant monsters.
Well, and as someone who's been on both sides of that table,
You have, yes.
it is. You're not always going to get a crit because of the confirmation thing, so that low, reduces the likelihood of one-shotting the BBEG very often. But it's really awesome as a player to sometimes just really destroy something.
Have that moment where it's yes.
I've gone from nights like last night where I literally cannot do anything in combat. To also
You couldn't last night. It was so bad. I'm so sorry, Evelyn. You couldn't.
But that's the give and take of D&D, isn't it? Right? So
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
you're gonna be superhero and sometimes you're gonna be super not, and that's part of what's fabulous about it. And also the tragedy of a character being one shot, it just adds a whole level of roleplay that makes the story feel more real.
Wow.
And
Holy
so-
crap, Evelyn! I could not have said it better. Like you just crushed my whole point. Robert, argue with that.
Again, if the players are happy with it and the mad chatters are happy with it, do it. Go for it. I just hope we never see the day where it goes awfully wrong.
Well, no, that's what this whole conversation is about, because I think advantages have that risk, because you double the likelihood of a crit and you double the likelihood of all of these things. That's why I want to rein this in, because my game is carefully balanced, and ultimately I only really want players to die. Or PCs probably
Player
to die.
characters.
Player character PCs to die.
Talk about this.
I only want PCs to die when they do dumb things and have bad rolls. Those two things together are the only things that should really result in a PC death. Go ahead, Jester. You're.
Yeah, so there's a few really good points here, and I'll try and be concise. So I agree with you. I come from a 5e background mainly. I've played Pathfinder and some other systems.
Well, 5e is
as
not a background. 5e is contemporary, existing now,
well,
today. It's not a background.
Yeah. But I've played in like grimdark settings, and I've played in settings that like being crit can end your life, and that's a really sucky feeling. I agree with you. I think that the dangers should come from the scenarios
Right.
that the players are put into, and where I have a schism is when random chance
Right.
and bad luck alone decide, like out of the blue, someone's walking, rocks fall, they die, and there's like
Okay.
they can do. Well, that's what I'm saying.
No, I do. No, I do, and that's the crux. That's the real sort of the essence of this discussion, because it can happen. The piano falls from the second story. You get hit in an earthquake. A lightning strikes you. Smaug has that trebuchet arrow hit him right where the scale is missing. Should that not be part of the game because it sucks?
I think it should
actually,
be
hold
part
on.
of the game. I think that those situations need to be in the game to create that element of danger.
Right.
But I think the reason this is such a discussion is because those that balance has tipped with all the advantages and all that's going on.
Exactly.
So I think once you like rein that in, the level of which craziness happens, if you're playing poker online and you play 1,000 hands, you're bound to see 4 of a kind or a straight flush.
You can do a straight flush, yes, exactly.
To playing at a live table where you might never see those things happen.
No.
So the more dice you roll.
All right, so Robert, then Thomas, and then Lisi. Go ahead, Robert.
So, by the way, I'd like to point out that Smug was not a critical hit. That was a called shot.
You don't know, because there were no dice in Tolkien's novel, my friend.
They knew that he had a vulnerable point, and it was the only thing. That was the place where you were going to kill him. That was where you were going to have to hit him. And there were an AD&D first edition, and I don't remember if they were in second edition still, but they had the called shot mechanic.
Yeah, called shot mechanic, which is a negative. Yeah, right.
Yeah, where you would aim for a particular place.
Which still, to hit that and kill a dragon that probably had 300 hit points with one shot. Come on, Robert, that was a crit, right?
It was a crit on a call shot.
I didn't say.
Does anyone disagree with me besides Robert? That was a crit. It had to be, right?
I'm not saying Tolkien was right. Yeah, I'm not saying Tolkien was right.
You're arguing with Tolkien! Anathema! You are a demon! I'm sorry.
That was disadvantage on the
demon,
roll
I think.
and rolling 2 nat 20s.
No, that was a crit on a called shot with a higher DC, because that's the only way that would work.
I love how this level up conversation has turned into a literary analysis.
That's it has. All right, I want to come back to Thomas. Thomas has been quiet for a moment, but I can see he has something to say. Go ahead.
Well, first off, it was a ballista, not a trebuchet.
Right, a ballista. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Bravo.
Yeah. Well, let's just be clear on that. You have to get things right. You know your siege war machine.
Technically, it was a wind lance, actually, but
same concept.
Ballista is much more similar to Windlands in terms of technical.
It is. A ballista wind lance. It's good. All right. I'm sorry. I was just I did this kind of last minute prepping for tonight, and I've been properly corrected. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I think when you're thinking of the criticals, and when you're thinking of the possibility of instant death, I think it helps if your players know, which I believe your cast does, that's what they're going into.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have the right players, it affects their actions knowing, do they run up front? Do you not run up front? Do you try to flank? Do you try to get on side? Do you try to do? You literally have to think how you want to position yourself. And that is also great because combat is a mechanic that people just run into. Like, 5e, you just run in and hit things.
Yeah, and I can do a short rest and get a little quick heal, and I'm done, right? No, I that's what I don't want.
Yeah, so when you have something like a table, plus for like formation, that's one of those things. If your players suddenly get into formation and start describing that, that's when the DM gives inspiration. That's what a lot of tables, you're like, okay, you guys get an advantage to the role because you planned out your formation. If you go for like a wedge attack formation with horses, but if the rogue sneaks behind and then the barbarian goes up front and you have everybody planned in certain positions just ready to strike at the right time, that you might get the crit and you might have something worse than a D6 damage. Like, that's just not, like, think of some of the damage for these weapons. It's low, but it's also balanced for HP. But like, you should be able to do hits that do 2-3 times the damage on certain rolls, and that's how you do crit. You crit, and you get to boost your damage. But crit tables just takes that another level. Like, it really gives it the chance to, like, to really, what am I trying to say? It gives you a chance to really enhance. I keep saying enhance, but
it adds to the glory. It makes this the possibility either for a horrible death or a glorious victory for the players.
Yeah, and I do too. Like, when things happen to players, like arms missing or certain things or
Ears,
eyes.
fingers.
That is just a new roleplay mechanic, and that's something else that your players, your cast, is great at. They take whatever you give them, and they run with it. So, in this style, it works. So you have to really judge it based on who you're DMing and what kind of game you want, because the crit tables can be the best thing or the most frustrating thing if it's not done properly.
Yeah, I think that's so well said. And it's about setting expectations with your players and making sure they understand and they can benefit or be victimized by those tables. Lee, you had something you want to say, I think?
Well, I was going to say if you replace advantages with inspiration or extra bonus addition to the dice, I'm a big Pathfinder, so, instead of rolling anything, you just add a little bonus.
Yeah,
Or big. But my point is, if you replace advantage with, you could still grant advantage for, say, tactical reasons or flanking. I know in 5th edition you get advantage if you flank, and I know in your games it's a lower armor class for flanking.
Right, exactly, yep.
Or a +2, or depending on how. But my point is, advantage, because it gives a higher level of crit possibility, should be reserved for in-game circumstances, at least for combat, for in-game circumstances. Whereas if you replaced all the advantages the players get from outside sources with inspiration or +5 or something else, that would make the crits make more sense, because then you don't have that. That's a big factor in that, is that crit. The chances get skewed for critting. Or you could say you can't crit on an advantage roll. That would be an interesting mechanic. So then do you have the advantage and have a higher chance of getting the hit, or do you allow for
I like that. So Lee, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I think that's exactly the kind of conversation I want to have. And I like John's comment. Demon Goon said, out of the box, D&D has no way to lose limbs in combat, which is bonkers. You should be able to lose limbs, ears, eyes, fingers. That should be part of combat, and I think that's what we're talking about here. So Evelyn, I hope you're taking notes. If you're not, I'll have to go back and rewatch all this. But I think there's so much great content here that we can leverage to improve the stream. And any others have final comments before I close this off and raid Jay?
Yeah. lot of great ideas. I don't know if still a lot of things to work out and sort through and figure out what works. There's probably going to be some trial and error. I don't know that you're so many ideas going out. My suggestion would be, whatever you do, you might want to do it in phases and see what feels good.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Don't massively change everything.
Well, look, I believe in sort of iterations and gradual improvement. So we make a slight change, and if people don't like it, ultimately I'm going to hold to the truisms of what I want for the game. I want this to be storytelling and really engaging players. I want it to be deadly, but I might need to so. For example, what I started with worked for me when I had 300 followers and 25 subs. And it wasn't that disruptive to the game. Now that we have a lot more and we're getting bigger, it's becoming more disruptive, and we'll iterate and change that. I think that's a good point, Robert.
Of course, if you really want deadly, we could all just play Castles and Crusades.
I like Castles and Crusades, and we will be playing more of that. I am a Troll Lord is a sponsor, and I love those guys, so for sure. But I also just like old school D&D. I like a lot of 1E, 2E stuff. Jester, you seem like you have something you want to say.
Just agreeing with Phantom a lot.
Okay, sorry, Jester, you're done. No.
I think that doing it in stages is the right way to go.
Right.
Starting small and seeing, because you're on a balancing scale. So once you take weight off, it's very easy to tip that balance fast. So I think doing it in small stages. I loved Lee's idea of instead of doing an advantage, especially on the crit confirmation roll,
Right.
doing a +5.
Like an inspiration or a D4 maybe, as an example?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or like, yeah, D4, but just doing it, because advantage is statistically, as someone said in chat, about a +5. That's what it works out to, mathematically. But you reduce the chance of that crit when you remove advantage. So in particular on the crit confirmation rolls, either just having one or, you know, just because when you add so much more advantage, you're adding the possibility of a lot more crits, and that's when you have encounters that should be a challenge for the party get wiped away, or encounters that should relatively be a resource drain on the party but not a deadly encounter become suddenly a fight for their lives.
That is so well said. I think you killed that comment, and well played. And so that's part of what my fate chips are designed to balance against, because only PCs can get fate chips. Monsters don't get them. But when you have all the advantages coming from the viewers, they overwhelm the fate chips, which only happen in extraordinary circumstances. Thomas, Lee, you both had things I think you want to say.
Lee, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I had no idea that +5 was statistically the advantage thing. I just made that number up because it made sense thematically. I had no idea it was actually.
I feel like it's +10 because it doubles the odds. So if you're rolling 2d20s, you have doubled your odds. So mathematically, if I'm missing somewhere, someone tell me. But it feels to me like it's a +10. That's why I like.
Might be true too. I just thought 5+5 was a good balancing point of not so much that it completely guarantees success, but enough extra that it creates nice.
Yeah, and that's that. Yeah, I think Lee,
for the
yeah,
players.
I think that's where we should be. We should be closer to the inspiration, which is a sort of 1 to 4, 1 to 6. When you do advantage, you basically double your odds. You're rolling 2d20s, so it's twice as likely you could hit a nat 20. So it's a +10 essentially on your odds. I did that 1 in 160 against Robert versus 1 in 80, which is the natural odds of a d20 on advantage. Jester?
That is the issue.
Well, yeah, but then you could just add +10 even if that's what advantage gives you without increasing the odds of crits.
That's the issue, is advantage gives you a +5 to hit, but a +10 to crit. That's the issue. It gives an average +5 to hit, like, from a base perspective. If you roll 2 dice, on average, you'll have a 5 higher roll, is what it works out as. Like, the math works out as. But because you're rolling 2 dice, you have a 10% chance to crit as opposed to a 5%. You have a 10% chance to crit or fail, depending on advantage or disadvantage.
I'm watching the chat blow up right now, and there's all kinds of comments on this. So we'll take the math odds offline. But I think this is a really, really good topic, and we're going to adjust this on BlueBox. And going back to the topic earlier, it's not. So if you see us change something, it's not to get more money from you. It's just to make sure that the game is fair and fun, and that we're not overplaying any of the odds associated with the different mechanics on the game. Before I sign off and raid Jay, any final comments from the panel? And thank you so much, all of you. My amazing Mad Chatters, BlueBox crew, Evelyn, my partner in crime here with BlueBox, Thomas. First time you've ever been on a stream, and you are the guy. You're the only one on this that was not at BlueBox Con this year. So I am again going to prompt you, please come next year if you can. I'd love to have you here. And I would love you. And any final comments or thoughts from the panel?
Another idea for how to put into effect the new changes.
Right.
On your one-shots. The one-shot's going to run?
Yeah, and by the way, I have to go to Memphis once a month for work, and my thought is on Wednesday nights, the LMA will be replaced once a month by a one-shot, and I could have any of you or any of our folks that want to run those as DMs, that'll be a regular Blue Box one-shot once a month.
Yeah, do try. You can also try some of the big changes on the one-shots where, you don't get as much activity as your normal show, but it could help to just check some balances and see how well the advantages and not advantages go versus
Play testing.
I like that.
Like a
Yeah,
little beta test without. That's a thought.
that's a good idea. All right, so Ranger said something earlier. So Mark said, I like +5 for actual hitting, double the chance of the crit. Asher. Ranger asked a question I saw earlier that I wanted to address, and I think I missed it. Okay, we'll let it go. But thank you everyone for your time tonight, and Evelyn and I will kind of reconnoiter on this and make sure we have all the context for all the comments that were made. A lot of good information. We're going to level up. We're going to do one-shots. We're going to change our advantage mechanisms. Also, we're going to improve some of our visuals, and I've got some ideas I've been talking to Evelyn about. I've been inspired by folks like Lawful Stupid, those folks over there across the pond. They have a really, really good channel. If you have not checked them out, you should. And all the folks that have followed us tonight and joined us on the stream, we are thankful for that. And so, final passing comments as I get ready to raid Jay.
I just want to say thank you to you and all the Mad Chatters for, it feels like everyone has an active stake in building this brand into something amazing. I know you certainly do, but the outpouring of community support for your brand and your channel is amazing. And I'm the new guy here, and I've been invited to play this or run that and that kind of stuff, just for one shots and stuff. And I think that's an amazing community that you've crafted, and things like this are the reason why. I think it's awesome.
All right, wow. So the 20 is coming your way, my friend. But thank you. I had no idea what you said. Other comments from anyone else about the whole talk tonight and what we can do to make this better as we grow?
I just think it's great and a great way that you did this to bring on people you don't even know.
Yep.
You've never actually met me yet, and you're just like, okay, come on to my Zoom and give your opinions to your whole community.
Yeah.
I'm not really that active in Discord. I'd like to be more active, but so I think this shows a lot of hey, I want this to be the best for everybody. So yeah, these are always good, the community talks, the community discussions, and I think so far it's gone great tonight. So I think thank you, John and BlueBox and Evelyn and all for being here and.
Wow. Yeah, that's
see each other again.
No, I love that, Thomas. That's great. And yes, I'm blown away. I haven't met you before because you've been such a regular part of our stream for so long. I've seen your name. You've won some giveaways. But meeting you tonight, it was wonderful for me. Lee, you had something you want to say?
Oh no, I just want to reiterate that. I wanted to thank you for bringing this community together. I mean, we wouldn't be here. You brought us all. I don't even know how to explain how powerful that is, but thank you.
All right, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not like pushing for compliments here. But thank you so much, Robert. Yeah, I know you're not going to compliment me. So what do you want to
say? single best D&D community ever, and anyone is willing to fight me on that, I will die on that hill. So
will you die with a crit?
No, I will take many. I may die, but many will fall before me. I promise you that. Yeah. So, I mean, you know how I feel. I love this place, and it means the world to me. It got me through this hellish year and a half that we all had to go through.
Right.
And whatever you need, John. You know that I'm here for it. Streams. Yes, games, whatever. I'm there. I just say the word and I will make it happen. It does, whatever you need.
Yeah, you've shown that. And Ranger said, "I'm not dead yet." Evelyn, you are my partner in crime here, and you got lots of stuff going on. You are in every part of what Blue Box is doing, and of course, you're helping others. You're helping Children of Dirt with Josh, and you got a new stream on Monday nights. So with Terry, so talk about any of that and your final comments. I'll let you wrap us up as we raid Jay.
All right. Well, let's see. So I mean, I've been with BlueBox since before day one as far as the stream goes. And I have been incredibly honored to be a part of this as it's become what it is. Just exceptionally grateful to our mad chatters and our community in general. I would not be able to do what I do with any other community. I think these guys are just, I mean, I'm so grateful for the people we play with and the people we get to hang out with all the time, and it's just wonderful. But as far as the other stuff I have going on, so Josh, I am one of his mods for his stream. Children of Dirt is on Monday nights usually at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And because it's been a day.
There are no mad charters, Steve. That's a lie. Stop the mad charters.
He's going to be off for the next couple of weeks because he's moving to LA, but you should definitely check them out. He's got a fantastic cast.
Well, he thinks he's moving down. I'm trying to pull him to Nashville. I don't want him to move to LA, but yeah, it's a tough call.
So he's got a fabulous cast, so you should definitely check them out. They are doing they've done, I think, 4 sessions now, and it's been such a fabulous stream. I am also going to be starting a Pathfinder 2E campaign on Monday nights at 9 Central with Terry as our DM, and that will be starting at 9 Central. So if you want to check us out, our first session is on Monday night, this coming Monday on @MagicED. He has been posting on Instagram and Twitter about it, so you should check out the cool graphics he's making for that. So we have a lot of work to do, and we're gonna make this. I just know that we're going to make Blue Box better and better, and it's going to be very much in part because of the amazing community we have here and everyone staying with us and just coming along with our stories and our journey and our adventure. We cannot be, I don't think we can express how grateful we really are for everything.
The question came from Chris Monkey, wondering if you ever sleep. You do not ever sleep. We know that. Patrick, yes, exactly. It's family. And look, I've had some ask me, are you worried? Like, you have so many new streams. Whiteley Hobbit, Robert plays in that stream, and they kind of overlap with us a bit on Sundays. Now we got Monday streams. We got what Josh is doing, and now Terry. No, I love it. It's the old adage, and well, I don't want to say that. Let me back up. I'm just going to say the rising tide lifts all ships. I love everybody streaming and gaming. The whole vision for Blue Box was to share and to get people to play the game that has meant so much to me since I was 8 years old. And now that I'm 42 years past that 8 years old, I'm just trying to continue to share it and love it, and it has meant so much to me. And so I support every single one of you that is streaming. And Lizzie, I know you stream, and I know you're streaming, Robert and Evelyn and Terry and Josh and all of you. You're my friends. Post everything you want in my Discord. I am going to be your friend. And so with that said, we're going to raid Jay. Everybody have a good night. It was a great talk. I loved it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Lord Gazumba. He has 110. And I'll tell you when it's actually clicked, and it should be happening here shortly. Let's kill the stream.